Alright, welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, or as I like to call it, PWA! So, we ended the last video with Phoenix getting assaulted by our main suspect, and he now has to defend himself. Now, this doesn't usually happen. In fact, I want to say this is the only time in the series that this happens. The main characters usually don't have to defend themselves. Usually, there will be someone around the main character, important to them, that they'll have to defend. But I'm pretty sure this is the only time that they actually have to defend themselves. And of course, Edgeworth isn't going to make it any easier on us. Yeah, I don't see why that's such a, like, a weird thing. I feel like a defense attorney could totally defend themselves in court. So yeah, we're hoping that we can get Wright on the stand and possibly tear apart his testimony, because we know he's the guy who did it. We, the player, and the viewer know for sure that he did it. Phoenix is like 90% certain that it's Wright. So that is pretty much our goal right now. You know, I gotta say, if you're a big fan of these games, like me, and especially if you really like the music, I would absolutely suggest buying, you'd have to import them, but it's a CD, it's a combination of two, or you could buy them separately, but it's, Ace Attorney meets, jazz, and Ace Attorney meets, like an orchestra. It's rearrangements of the songs from the games, either done by a jazz band or by an orchestra. And they are really great. They're some of the best CDs I own. I also have all the soundtracks for all the games, except for Dual Destinies. I don't have that one yet. I still need to track that one down. But yeah, I love listening to the music of this series, just like while I'm driving, going on a little trip. Was that a threat? Is he gonna kill us? So here we go. I feel like that was actually the correct usage of Bedlam. So this is one where we're gonna have to press a little harder rather than immediately finding the contradiction. That we don't need to know, because we know that's probably true. There's probably no contradiction in there, you know, the time or anything like that. Any facts that you know are true, you don't really need to press. So this one is the one you need to press. So now we have a new bit of information, which is almost always where you will find the contradiction. So we can do this, and if you look at the testimony, it said he ran to the right, whereas Mr. White here is saying ran to the left.
Objection!
Most usually, if you get new testimony added, that is almost always where the contradiction will lie. There are very rare cases, however, where you get a new bit of testimony and it's completely pointless. But those are very few and far between. So obviously this doesn't make sense. I mean, personally, if I was a killer and I was going to testify to court, I would make sure that I got every single bit of information correct. So this is our real gotcha moment, because the only way he would have seen it, you know, going to the left is if he was there. Obviously, if he was looking at her from a building to the, you know, across the way, it would have been to the right, but if he was there, it would have been to the left. So it was a real slip of the tongue that we're really going to be able to nail him on. Hopefully. So you want to put his location to be where the killer is. You don't have to be precise, I just like to be precise because I'm weird like that. I don't know if you have to put him in the place of the killer. I'm sure you do, but I'm sure anywhere that, you know, in that general area probably would have worked. I think it's fairly clear what I'm suggesting there. I like how Edgeworth is starting to use, like, bigger words now. I don't know if he's doing it to show up Red White, because he's actually using words that, like, make sense in the context and actually are real words, or if he's just doing it by accident. I'd like to think it's to show up Mr. White. this is something that is very, very, very easily debunked. I'm sure anyone who paid attention to this case so far should know what the contradiction here is. So, we want to go to the testimony that said, you remember you hit her twice. So this one, we need to go to the autopsy report. You say there, a blow from a blunt object, not multiple blows.
Objection!
So this guy is actually not that bad to debunk most of his claims. I'd kind of wish that he was a little tougher. All of his, like, lies are very obvious.
Objection!
So now we've got the court viewers on our side. I don't know what do you call that? It's not. They're not the jury. There is no jury in these games. At least not until Apollo Justice. So we're starting to wear him down now. Yeah, your stomach's gonna be hurting pretty big time in prison, pal. Don't drop the soap, pal. So, we're immediately right off the bat. I swear if it's that fucking clock again. So, while it wasn't the stupid clock again, there is something very odd about it. This is really something you could only remember if you look at the floor plans for the office. So now he's going to revise his testimony to reflect the light fixture falling over. So we have a piece of evidence that we can present, which is the floor plans. And as you can see there, it is against a corner where it would not have been in his field of view if he was watching it from across the way. There's no way he could have seen that.
Objection!
You know, something I didn't know about this game, I guess this is good trivia to bring up right now. 7 people worked on this game. This is not a very big budget game, and I mean, it shows, because a lot of the music gets repeated, a lot of the areas get repeated, the sprites are all pretty much the same. But for 7 people, you know, there's like 4 stories, or 4 cases, 5 if you count the DS version, but I'm gonna go with the original. There's 4 stories, and they're all very varied, they're all fairly long, and for 7 people, this really isn't that bad. Like, this is a well-made game. That's the thing with a game like this, is that you're never gonna go and look at a review of a Phoenix Wright game and say, oh man, the gameplay is just awful. It's just the worst. It's so glitchy and broken. essentially what the only complaint you could ever have with one of these games is, oh, I don't really like the characters in this one, or I think the stories are kind of boring in this one. You know, you're never gonna get a review of this where it's like the gameplay is just so incredibly fundamentally broken. Well, it looks like we got red, white. I bet he's pretty blue. Get it? Because red, white, and blue.
Objection!
I love watching the people in the stands because they're literally just little heads and they bob back and forth. Again, like I said, 7 people made this game. Gotta cut it some slack. I feel like this song is now inappropriate at this point. Because you know, this is the gotcha music. You know, this is cornered. We've cornered the guy. But he's kind of, you know, worming his way out of it now. This song shouldn't be playing. And now it's back! How? Unless he's cornering us. And that's what this song is trying to imply right now. Oh, Edgeworth. He thinks he's clever, but he's not, because I think we could probably get out of this one too.